morning, everyone. It is March 23rd, and you can tell from the drone and from some of the shots you're going to be seeing that the outside of the house is getting close to completion. The inside as well. We still have some open ends. We'll get to that. But you can see the driveway's been poured this week. Beautiful driveway. We had the exposed aggregate done, and that's where they put down the base. We had it colored I don't know what color it is, but we had color put into the cement, and then they come back a day later and they kind of take a power washer and blast the top layer off so it exposes the aggregate underneath. It's a real fine stone. It looks very nice. Sorry for the audio if it's any delays today, but I forgot my wireless mic, so we're going to have to do with what we got. You'll see that some of the stonework on the house has been done. We'll get a closer look at that when we get up there. Yep, there's Marsha on the porch. I need the door open. The outhouse is about to go. Maybe this week. We're getting to the point where I don't think we need that anymore. The driveways, we had a driveway poured in front of the RV garage as well. You can see that's in. Makes it very nice looking. It makes it look smooth, kind of contemporary, which is what we wanted. The garage door looks beautiful with this driveway. And the top, it needs to be painted. You'll see there's some paint on the trim. We had a sealer put on the roof because, and we don't get much rain here, but when you do get rain, there were some cracks in that cement and water was dripping into the metal on the top of the garage and then running down the side walls, which was leaving I don't know what you want to call it, that staining that you see like on this wall over here. And it needs to be, they're going to power wash it tomorrow, I believe, inside, and they're going to paint the garage. We're getting it an off-white paint. And Marsha's opening the door. And you will see that we also say hi.
Hello.
Better talk louder. I don't have a microphone.
Oh, I know. Sorry about that. We're excited about several things this morning. It's nice to see that we're able to walk up to the house, and you'll see this way into the house and not be all dusty, our shoes and pants all dusty.
I was just telling them about the roof. We'll talk about that. We got to notice the floor. We had an epoxy floor put down in the RV garage. It's a one with the flakes. They're more than flakes. They're like a heavier, I don't know what you call that stuff. It's a nice pebbly kind of finish.
And it's like a flatter surface
Yeah.
than the ones that are like little beads.
The beauty of this is let me finish the story. We weren't going to finish this garage right now. We thought, given the amount of money that we spent on everything else, we were going to wait and do something in here maybe later. Well, we had a snafu in our main garage that we'll talk about, and that caused us to say we need to put some money into finishing the RV garage. So that's why this floor is all done. It's beautiful. The roof has been done, and starting, I think, tomorrow, they're going to power wash this garage out. You can see the staining I was telling you from the minerals and so forth on the walls. They're going to blast all this off, and they are going to paint this garage an off-white color. It's going to be very nice with this floor in here. And this garage is going to look great in a few days. The electrical, you can see the cable hanging up here. That's going to be, we have a panel getting put in here, I think later in the week. And we're going to have some wiring and some outlets, and I need a garage door opener plug put up there. So all that, some lighting, that will be put in later this week or early next week, whenever the electrician gets back here.
And also this corner over here, we initially thought that this was because they had pushed dirt against the back of the garage. And come to find out, it's actually from the roof. And so they're going to clean all this off, but also they made repairs to the roof of the garage, and we'll show you what all, it was a long process. They ground the roof down, the concrete, and then they put some type of like It's
They
not
filled the
fabric.
cracks with it, yeah.
Yeah, they filled the cracks in, but then the next layer that they put on is like, it is not water permeable at all. And then the top layer is the paint.
It's
So
like an
you'll see that.
epoxy, yeah.
Yeah,
You'll see it when you
that.
get up there. And then we had a color put on it.
So now we'll show you how we could get to the house from the RV garage.
This, let me take a minute to talk about these steps. This whole section here that you see with the stairway that was built, all this cement work that was poured to create a landing, so when you come down from the house area or the garage down to this garage, you'll be on cement all the way, which is nice because we're going to have rock and stuff spread on the rest of the exposed dirt. You won't be in any of the rocks. This was all an afterthought. We wanted to connect this RV garage into the house, and our builder came up with the idea that we would put this retaining wall in, that right here that I'm pointing at in the back. That retaining wall connected the side retaining wall that runs down along the side of the house to the RV garage. That allowed us to then build this staircase in. It was all custom built, so that the staircase provides access from the garden area, which you'll see when we get up there, and it lands at this cement pad down here. That way we can easily walk from the RV garage up these steps on the pad into these steps, and then up to either the garage or the house. So it really tied everything together very nicely.
And as we go up to the garden, there will be an entry into the garden, but I was concerned about getting like potting soil into the garden. So that's when we decided we needed to make sure it had access to the garage that's attached to the house. So I had access from that side of the house and didn't have to go through the dining room. So here we go.
You can tell the HVAC units have been put in. While we're out here, let's talk about this garage ceiling. The roof in the garage, as we told you a little while ago, it's like an epoxy-based finish, and then they put a layer of a color kind of epoxy on top. We had it a desert color top, so it kind of blends in with the surroundings. Doesn't really, you don't want to call attention to your garage roof, but it's really nice, and it's waterproof. And now we don't have to worry about any more water getting into that garage once it's painted. So the HVAC units were put in about a week or a week and a half ago. They seem to be working well now. Do you want to go this way first?
So this is the garden, and there will be panels across here that Steve is going to install, and then this will all be
You have to
landscaped.
talk to the phone. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I don't have a camera.
There will be panels that go across, and then there will be a gate right here. So we'll have access to either go to the RV garage or out to the left to go to the back patio and into the garage that's attached to the house. So right now, my main job is working on the landscape plan. We've got two different ones that are giving us bids, and we're going to be selecting that this week. So I'm excited about that.
And you'll see the steps we had poured going into. Kind of gives it a neat look. So we had talked about just doing like a stone pathway up here, but we thought the exposed aggregate steps would look very, very kind of classy looking, not just typical stone path.
Also over here, right here, is where I will have my coffee in the morning, and I'll have a nice view of my garden, and I can hear my neighbor's waterfall, which is nice, and it's very private and very safe because we have a gate here, we have the steel panels, and people on the street don't have access to our home. So.
All righty. You want to go around the side? And you'll see we had this walkway poured all the way back around. We kind of had them break it up a little bit for just aesthetics, but also it helps with the expansion contraction, even though we're in a desert and it don't really get that cold, to try to prevent cracking in the future as much as possible. This patio is going to eventually, at some point, hold a hot tub right over here. We had the wiring and the outlets and everything. We had the breaker box up there that's required by code for the outlet. That's all in. It's just a matter of us having enough money left to buy a hot tub.
I think it's gonna be our Christmas present to one another. Over here is where we will have the grill. And we wanted to, initially, the design had this patio extend out farther, like the patios on the front. But at night, we wanted to be able to be in the hot tub and look up and see the dark sky, because Boulder City is a dark sky city. And so we should be able to see some stars at night. So looking forward to that.
And then this walkway that goes around the back of the garage is going to be stone. It'll be a smaller 3/4 inch to 1 inch stone so that it's easy to walk on. This is just for basically a path around should you need to bring stuff to the back of the house
Like
that you
the
don't
hot tub.
like a hot tub. Stuff you don't want to go through the garage necessarily. Just an alternate way to get to the other side of the house. Oops, I'm sorry, I almost fell in the rock. The driveway, as I indicated and I showed earlier, you saw it in a drone, it's all poured. Beautifully done. I love the look of this exposed aggregate. It's absolutely gorgeous. It ought to be for what we had to pay for all that. So I'll have to mention the money again. That's what I do in every video. But before we get into the front of the house, there's a wall over here. Now, we made 2 snafus on this house. One of them's inside, and we'll show that. Oh, you want to grab it?
Yep.
Yeah, we'll show the inside snafu a little bit later. It's minor. This snafu was $20,000 snafu. Because what happened was, this wall, as you can see, is about 3 foot, roughly 3 foot wide. And then you can see the height. It goes from basically 1.5 feet or so to about 5 foot. And that wall needed to be put in because it's a retaining wall. When we dug out for the driveway, none of us realized, I guess at the time, that we were going to be digging below the bottom of that wall, the block wall that's on the top. So that exposed the bottom of the wall, and then there was rock under it, which was very stable. It's caliche, and we didn't even have to do this wall, but the engineer and the builder felt like we needed to put a retaining wall in there to keep that wall from stable so they don't eventually kind of come down. Well, this wall, because of the amount of concrete in it and the engineering, I had to pay $600 for engineering, then $18,000 to build the wall. And all it is a retaining wall that holds up the base of that wall. In retrospect, and here's the problem with that, it took 3 feet away from the driveway, which means I now cannot put a big truck into this garage. This garage, I don't have a mic, I can't go too far away. That garage was designed to hold a large pickup or a large van, and now, given the 3 feet I lost here, unless I get a truck with 4-wheel steering like a Denali or something, or potentially a Hummer, you can't get it in and out of here very easily because you don't have enough room to turn it to get out. That's the drawback. So that's what prompted us to then say, if I can't put the truck in this garage, we're going to put it in the RV garage, which is a great garage for it. It's fine. But I wanted it finished. You don't want to put a nice vehicle into an unfinished garage. It just looks tacky. So I decided to epoxy the floor, finally fix the roof, which needed to be fixed anyhow, and get it painted. So it's going to be a nice RV garage. It'll be a great place to hold. You could put it's made for an RV, so it'll certainly hold anything I decide to buy.
I think it'll wind up being your man cave, and I think you'll get a beer fridge in there.
It will
yeah.
be. Yeah. Stereo, beer fridge, all the whole bit. But it's very nice. And this garage will still be useful for a car, an SUV. The motorcycle will go over there. We can still use it. It's just I don't have enough room for a large truck in there, and that was really the intent of that bay. So that was snafu number. Besides the money this wall cost, the functionality that we lost, that was a snafu. I mean, it was our mistake. In retrospect, what we would have done after we thought about it is instead of building this wall, we would have had the guys come in, take this wall down from about this point where this wall starts back.
The existing wall,
The
that
existing
tall wall.
and then just lower that wall and rebuild it, and that would have solved the problem, because we could have lowered this wall and then we could have put a footer in there and not had to build this wall. Probably could have done it for the same money that wall cost us. But you know, when you're in that middle of it, you got engineers and you got builders telling you, well, you probably need to do this, and for code we're going to have to do this. We never thought about what are the other options, and that would have been a better option. However, Marcia pointed out that if they build some house next to us someday that's very high, because they want to maximize the views, although Boulder City does limit you to 25 feet, but depending on who's in office or whatever, if they ever build a house high enough over there, this wall prevents them from seeing into our garage. It gives us some privacy. Not that I really think it's that important that we block the garage off in the front door, but it would give some privacy. So maybe it's not bad in the end. There's always pros and cons to this stuff. But
And we're going to have the wall, here's another additional cost. We're going to have this new retaining wall stuccoed. So that's going to be an additional cost, but it will make it look nicer. And we're going to put pots of desert steel plants on top of it. So it'll look good.
So I'm done bitching for now. So in this garage, there's not much inside. We're going to save the inside video for next time or the time after, because there's still a mess in there with stuff. They got the lights in this garage finally. I bought flat panel LEDs that look really nice. Let me reach over and I'll put the switch on. I wanted low profile lights in here because we're going to put a tile floor in here. That's what's in all some of these boxes over here. That's going to be a nice checkerboard pattern. And you can see the garage lights. They're a low profile LED, and they're really nice looking. They're not just your typical tube LED lights or anything. So it'll give it plenty of light in here, and it kind of gives it, we're trying to keep the house looking somewhat modern / contemporary. So you just kind of do those little things that makes a big difference.
So,
Let's go, do you want to walk?
Yeah, we can look at the portico.
Oh yeah.
So there have been a few different renditions of this portico. Initially, it was to one side. And when I say to one side, what happened was the columns right here closest to me were going to be centered on this window.
Yeah.
On this window right here. So it was shifted this way. I didn't care for that. I don't want to look out a window and see a column if I don't have to. So I worked with actually the person that did the framing and concrete work, our foundation, and he was able to shift this so that we don't look out and see the columns. So then it kind of changed what we were going to have to do in order to enter the house a little bit as far as like walkway. And I'm very happy with what they did with the staggered walkway.
Yeah, it looks really nice.
And there will be plant material, you know, little plants in here. And then initially there was stone all over the front of this house. And because you can't really even see the garage from the road out front, the street out front, I wanted to make sure that we used the stone as efficiently as possible. And so we decided to do this corner. Actually, our builder recommended this corner, and
Yeah, it looks really nice.
yeah, I think it turned out really nicely. And we're going to light this, and then of course we'll have landscaping in here. And we had these posts will also have the stone on the bases of them, just like the ones on the veranda out front. And so we had enough stone left over that now we're going to do the corner foundation down here that will wrap around to Bill's window.
Yeah, we're gonna do. I'm gonna take the mic. Yeah, we forgot the microphone today, so I'm just gonna talk to this. The underneath, you can see the stone exposed underneath where the stucco finishes. We're gonna stone that all in with the same stone that we used on that corner of the house, just to give it a nice look instead of just having blank kind of concrete sitting there. And then we'll run it all the way over underneath the window that my office has. So it'll kind of finish it off, give it a nice look. So luckily we had enough stone left to do that. So let's go
I really, if you'll come up here on the portico,
Sure.
I really love this portico because it gives a pretty view of the lake. I just love this view. And two different contractors I have seen, one was cleaning windows the other day, and then another person was measuring and giving us an estimate on window treatments. And both of them, well, one of the women asked me, may I please take a picture here? And it's very interesting. We always try to capture the best view of the lake with the room placement in the house. And I never even noticed how beautiful this is. So I feel very grateful for this beautiful view. And all of the little mishaps here and there, and some of the decisions that we made that, we're like, that's a snafu. It's all worth it in the end, because, you just got to keep your eye on the prize. And we are in a very, very beautiful place. Very grateful.
Well, here we're out on the veranda. The front, you can see, this is where, when you're on the road, this is what you see when you look up. The posts are all stoned as well out here. They're going to be on the portico, as Marcia mentioned earlier. Look really good. You'll see this yellow piping coming out of the ground. That's actually going to be a gas line that comes out right here. And that gas line is going to run over to an area in the corner just past these white pipes, and they're going to be a fire pit there. We have just a natural gas burner in a fire pit that the guy that does our metal work is in the process of building, and it's going to be that we can sit on the veranda, look out towards the lake, and we'll have a fire in there in the evening if we want. Just kind of aesthetics, that's all it is, nothing else. Do you want to say something?
No, it's just I'm looking at the view, how pretty it is. One of the things that I wanted to make sure that we did was I didn't want to obstruct the view from the house at the outdoors. And so I tried to select a place for our furniture. And the wonderful thing about this particular place here is it does not matter if it is 119 degrees here, we get a breeze right here.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place, though.
It's a beautiful breeze.
Yeah, there's a lot worse places to hang out.
Yep. And so that's why we decided to put the
Fire pit
right here. So it will be right here,
Yep.
and our seating will be where I just stepped from. And then we had to make a decision about the railing, whether to have a railing, because code tells you if there's this far of a drop.
30 inches.
Okay, is it 30 inches?
30
You
inches.
have to have a railing. However, I want Bill to...
We were at 28 inches. So we really had a choice. We did not legally have to have this railing.
Yes.
We needed it on the end, you'll see. But on this section, that first, the first section here and the second section, we did not need it because we were 28 inches. Technically, we could have just skipped these two.
Yes, but we were 28 inches to this steep drop.
Yeah, if somebody had a couple of drinks, they're going over. Yeah, exactly.
I didn't want to see one of our grandkids tumbling down the hill.
Yeah, roll. I'm not worried about the grandkids. I'm worried about some drunk people. Could run down. This one we needed because you can tell this runs right down over the side, and it's about a 4 or 5 foot, maybe 7, 8 foot drop when you get this side. So this railing was required anyhow. And since we were going to do this section, had to do this section, it made sense to do these. It looks better from the street. It just looks more symmetrical instead of having. Looks like we'd have a partial railing if you didn't do it. So, and that railing is beautiful. It's all custom made by our metalworking guy. It looks very nice.
He does such a good job. Yeah. So I think that's all we need to share today, and I'm going to let Bill sign off.
Thanks a lot. I hope the audio is good. I feel bad that I forgot my wireless mics. We had too many moving parts today, so we'll get it in the next video. And thanks a lot for following along.